Monday, February the 4th. I am Mark Harris, your host for tonight's Zoom team call. Tonight's call will be posted as soon as we can on the Team Lifetree Facebook group. Julie and Jerry White, our trusty normal hosts for this call, are traveling tonight on their way to Charleston, South Carolina, where we will meet at week's end for our big family reunion there, our quarterly event for LifeVantage Elite Academy. If you've not yet heard about Elite Academy, this is your chance to execute a momentous decision. It's not too late. You can still register for that event at lifevantage.com at the bottom of the page. Go down there and register for LifeVantage Academy. We start in, 4 days? Friday morning at 9 a.m. We will be our first general session there in the Charleston Area Convention Center. And it's going to be a life-changing event. I do want to go over some housekeeping notes, I guess. In the past, we've called these the 10 Commandments for attending events. They're more suggestions, really, but they are intended to help those that will be in Charleston for our event maximize the experience. And then Krista and I were processing a little bit over the past week about some things that we wanted to share as well for personal development. Perhaps you've never owned your own business before. Perhaps you are looking for a daily method of operation to do this intentionally. And so we've got a couple pointers for you that will not just grow your business, it will grow you as well. So lots to get to in this team call tonight. Let me start by saying, if you're brand new in LifeVantage, first of all, welcome. You've already done the hard part. You've already made a decision. You inherently, you've made a declaration that you believe that change is possible. You are already in the abnormal category because normal people are sick and broke and not very attractive, right? Normal people. These are people that on Monday mornings, they have heart attacks. These are people that will tell you the reason they can't get ahead is because it's somebody else's fault. It's some other factor. It's the political climate. It's the environmental or financial culture that we're in. It's the economy. It's my wife. It's my spouse. It's my kids. It's this thing or that thing. It's this everybody else's fault but mine. By the fact that you have seen an opportunity and you have chosen to act upon it by becoming a LifeVantage distributor, well done. You should know that this is a lot like any new endeavor. If you were going into real estate, you would want to get a real estate license and learn how to sell real estate. If you were going to help people buy insurance, you would want to receive the training to share that information in a meaningful, coherent way that would be beneficial for your customers. We call that selling. So in the same sense, direct selling, or this industry of network marketing, multi-level marketing, personal franchising, in that sense, in the general sense, it is selling, but it's helping people identify a need, process through some pain that they're having physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, socially, and then giving them the opportunity to potentially change that. You've done that, and so now the next step is learning how to share that information for other people who also see the world the same way, like-minded people who believe that change is possible. For us, and for most LifeVantage distributors who have never done this before, attending the training events and those training opportunities that have been afforded to us have made the difference between success and failure. If you're brand new and you have joined LifeVantage with either a gold pack or a platinum pack, here's the good news. Your registration for our national training events is already paid for. If you came in with a platinum pack, you received 2 passes for Charleston. If you're solo, if you're building your business as a single person or someone that does not have the support of their spouse, you could actually apply one of those tickets for yourself in Charleston and one for a guest in Charleston. Wouldn't that be a good recruiting tool? Or if you wanted to go ahead and register for Kansas City in July, you could do that. One for yourself in Charleston and one for yourself in Kansas City. I will tell you, our enrollment packs have changed. There are no longer going to be 2 registration passes in the Platinum Pack. That is because we are rolling more value on the product side to create a greater amount of discount, including the hair care system now in the Platinum Pack. So take advantage of it. If you got it, use it. That's just a friendly reminder. We'll talk about the changes in the enrollment packs going forward. But if you enroll as a Gold Pack distributor, that's also paid for. You're already pre-registered, so to speak, or at least you're covered for the registration for Elite Academy in Charleston. You do have to go online and go through the registration process. You will have received a code in your Gold Pack for that registration, but you're already covered. Now all you have to do is figure out how to get there and who you're staying with and what you're going to eat. And I find that the people who make a decision to attend those events, even last minute, quite often will, they just find a way, right? Where there's a will, there's a way. And this team is, first of all, it's large enough that we can bring some people in and share bunks, share rooms. But they're also pretty generous, kind-hearted people, not just in our team, but in all of LifeVantage. So quite often, people who find a way to get there also find a place to stay as well, even if they're sleeping on the floor on a mattress, right, or a sleeping bag. If there's a will, there's a way. And we know lots of those stories and people renting whole houses for their team and that kind of stuff. I will say this, if you are looking for a ticket, if you're selling a ticket, if you're looking for a roommate, if you're looking for a ride, Team Lifetree Facebook group is your platform. That's your forum for that information. We also have a brand new forum that we're going to be implementing this week in advance for Elite Academy Charleston. I want to talk about that as we go. I'll mention it now in case I forget. It's an app available for both the iPhone and the Android. It's called The Jump. And this is a secure platform, very much like Facebook. But Jackie is all excited about it. And so we're going to give this a beta test at Charleston for our team. So if you've got, if you don't want to just use Team Lifetree Facebook group, you can also download The Jump, look for Lifetree. That's our group. Find me, find Jackie, and we'll gladly add you to that group. We do not yet have a venue for our team gathering in Charleston, and that's probably where that information is going to come. The rooms are all booked. We don't have a side meeting room in Charleston, so we're looking for a corridor, a restaurant, a hallway, perhaps a hotel lobby, something like that. So I want to encourage you to go ahead and download The Jump app and look for Lifetree on there. We'll get you added. If you have problems, just private message me after the call tonight. Alrighty, here's the 10 commandments, or the 10 very strong suggestions to maximize your event experience in LifeVantage, not just for LifeVantage, in any event, any webinar or conference or retreat that you're going to attend. These were passed along to us by some very wise people, and I will share as to the best of my ability tonight. If you do not have one of these, let me recommend that you do that. This is my journal. This is my LifeVantage journal. It's also my meditation journal for my quiet time in the mornings. And I lump it all in the same place because life is like that. And I think there's a spiritual principle to lumping it all together. But these are the last 4 years of my LifeVantage journey. I think this goes back 5 years, actually, to 2014. I've got 2 other ones buried somewhere underneath a stack of books on my bookcase over here. But I wanted to reference those because I still use these. The reason I keep notes is so as we're sharing information that we have found valuable, you're going to want to do that for your future team as well. So here they are. I've got this written in the very back of my binder because I know right where to find them. Number 1, well, the prerequisite is to go, right? Number 1, this would be 0, go. Number 1, organize your team ahead of the event. Arrive early before the doors open, and just be aware that people line up early. And it's really fun to see those lines lined up at the front door, but those people know something. Those people know that the best seats are at the front. So arrange with your team if you want to try to sit together, have a plan. And historically, our crew, the Kansas City crew, has kind of sat towards the front right. The Louisiana, New Orleans crew and us, we kind of sit in the same sort of front right area So normally we let the Louisiana folks sit a couple rows ahead of us, and then we sit to the back, just behind them. I will tell you this, those of us that are elite distributors in our team, we have a special roped off section. So that's one of the perks of being an elite distributor. So if you want to sit with us, we'll save you a seat, but you have to earn that. You have to earn an elite distributorship. And there's lots of room. There's plenty of room up there. So come on up, hit Pro 7 and come sit with us at the front of the room. Arrive early before the doors open. People line up early. If you want to sit with your team, make a plan beforehand. Please try to avoid saving seats. That's just bad form. When you walk in and there's 2 full rows of somebody who's got jackets and books and phones and iPads and coffee mugs, and that's all lined up, and your people don't show up till 30 minutes into the program, it's just bad form. So be intentional about sitting together and make a plan beforehand. Do a little recon as well. When you arrive, you may want to notice the restaurants and coffee shops, any convenience stores, any kind of sundry shops, because those are your lifeline to making it through a very long, intense weekend. You may, if you're a coffee drinker, you may want to have a backup plan than the coffee line closest to the venue. Just of note of personal experience. The coffee lines at these events are stupid. They're just stupid. There's never enough. There's always a long queue, especially General Session 1, because people have waited to the last minute to show up. And if you do that, you're probably not going to get in your seat in time. The most valuable seats are up front, as I said. Benefit is directly proportional. The energy is directly proportional to the front of the room, to the proximity to the stage. And those of you that have been to any event, concert, retreat, seminar, convention, you already know this. Your experience in the back of the room is a completely different experience than the people in the front. That's why, frankly, they let the elites sit up front. There's also something really cool called legacy seating. I don't know if there's any legacy seats still available. It's like 125, 150 bucks. You can sit up there. And that's a donation to the LifeVantage Legacy Fund, where we go down and build homes for the homeless in Mexico, in Rocky Point. But your seat is actually as good, if not better, than the elite distributor seats. The only people sitting in front of you are Pro 10s, typically. So that's a pretty good deal, and it's well worth the investment if you want to do that. If they're full this session, this event, look for Kansas City as well. Number 2, pay attention. As crazy as that might sound, pay attention, close attention to the presenters, because 1, you need the information. Often someone new saying it differently makes all the difference, and that has been the case for us. I call this journey my progressive epiphany. There are seasons during your journey in network marketing that there's things that just are not tangible. They're not relevant until later on, and somebody can say the exact same thing 2 years later, and all of a sudden the light bulb comes on, right? So pay attention. There's a really good chance that whoever's presenting is going to share something that helped them get from where you are to where they are, right? So pay attention. Your team is watching you, and one of the things that we've learned in personal development leadership is people will do what you do, not what you say. And so if they see you clowning around, they see you walking out in the lobby, if they see you clowning around your iPad, whatever, they're probably not going to take it as seriously if you were sitting on the edge of the seat taking notes, right? So just lead. If you got a team there, they need to see you leading. I'll just mention this as well. If you have team coming to Charleston and you're not coming, let me suggest that you reach out to those people and personally tell them why you can't come. Because the most important factor in building a successful LifeVantage business, at least in my opinion, is the consistency of attending those events. So if you can't make this one, I'm not going to bring condemnation. I'm not going to call you out. It's okay. I get it. Life happens. Perhaps you're brand new and this was a surprise to you, or perhaps you're in a life event and you're moving across the world and you can't be in Charleston. I get that. But the commitment to be at these events absolutely is the difference between success and failure for most of us. In fact, there's no elite that I know of that's made it to elite status by missing events. Krista and I have never missed one, with the exception of 2 Julys ago. My father passed away the Saturday of the Elite Academy. So I felt excused in that situation. But you should probably let your team know why you can't come and what your plans are. Number 3, take copious notes. As I mentioned, this is my faithful little journal. When we get there, they're going to give you a little program, probably with a campus map on it, a breakout session, general session schedule. And in the back of that program, typically, there are some blank pages. They're just not going to be enough. There's just no way to put all of that information that we're going to get Friday and Saturday in that little tiny brochure. Make sure you've got a notebook, because it's not just for you. This is for your future team as well. And they need to hear and see and learn from your process of learning. I know people bring iPads and laptops. Unless they have tables set up, and usually those are only reserved for elite distributors, those are really awkward and unhealthy. The idea of a laptop or an iPad sitting on your lap for about, 18 hours, that's just not going to be good for your innards, right? If your Wi-Fi or Bluetooth are on. So just bring the hard copy, bring the old school notebook if you can. Blue ink on white paper. I always find this a fascinating little anecdote, but psychologists have determined that blue ink on white paper is the best format for retaining information. Now, I don't know what that's worth to you. This pen happens to be black, and most of mine happen to be black, but supposedly that helps increase your ability to recall your notes. The mind has a half-life, and you will find that you will only remember about half tomorrow what you learned today, and the next day after that, half again. And so by the time you get back home, you're going to remember very, very little of the content that we talked about or you heard in Charleston. So that's why notes are so important. The fundamentals are called fundamentals for a reason. The things that you're going to hear, you might have heard them 10 times. If they resonate with you again, go ahead and write them down. Somebody's trying to tell you something. And the way you execute those fundamentals this time may be differently than the way you've executed them in the past. The great thing about corporate events is they're a fantastic opportunity to hit reset every 90 days. So I do. When we're getting back on the plane or back in the car to come home, I just am mentally hitting reset. I'm going to start all the way over from day one and just go through those same day one massive initiative launch processes to start all over. Number 4, arrange to meet your team or another group after the event for strategic session and processing. You need to set up a meeting place that's conducive for conversation. There's a lot of noise around convention halls, a lot of noise in hotel lobbies, et cetera. You already know this. So unless you're intentional about where that strategic processing session is going to be, it's probably not going to happen, at least not as effectively as it could had you put in a little bit of effort. Now, again, a lot of people are trying to catch planes Saturday afternoon after general session. Krista and I are no exception to that. So we're actually, I think we have to leave about 6:10 to catch our 7:30 flight 5 minutes away at the airport. So we're actually going to miss Darren Jensen's summary and farewell at the end of general session. So we will not be around for that processing session with you or anybody else Saturday night. That being said, you should still take the opportunity to find somebody, even if it's just one other person, to just feedback, process, set some goals. It's been said that experience is not the best teacher. Processed experience is the best teacher. So make sure you're processing with somebody the things that you are incorporating into your personal development and your business. All right. Number 5. This is my big one. The meeting is in the room. I know it's crazy, but the meeting is actually in the room, like the ballroom. The meeting is in the venue where we're going to attend the meeting. And if you decide to call an impromptu meeting with your team during general session, somebody's going to miss something vital. Somebody is going to miss something that was so important that they hire a babysitter, that they take days off, that they buy airplane tickets, that they get a hotel room, that they pay for food in South Carolina. They make the effort to get there. That is not the time for us as team leaders to have a moment of inspiration and then pull our team out of the environment in which they're going to get the most value. That's just dumb. Don't do that. I want to encourage you to not schedule a presentation, to not schedule three-way phone calls. You have another 89 days, 88 days before Kansas City to do that. Do it at night. Do it at lunch hour. Do it at 6 a.m., but do not do it during general sessions. Please, I beg of you. Get to bed early, number 6. Get to bed early the night before the AM sessions. Just a heads up, I mentioned this last team call. Friday session starts at 9 a.m., unlike any other Elite Academy we've ever had, except for the science sessions that we've had in years past. So 9 a.m., you need to be in the seat at 8:50, right? Because there's some pretty thumping cool music. You may want to bring earplugs if you're so disposed. But just avoid the distractions the night before. There's lots of folks hanging out in the restaurants and the bars and just milling around the store and all that stuff. Just be focused, especially you folks that are coming from Central, Mountain, or Pacific time. Realize there's a time change, and that can be brutal for those of you that are traveling across the continent. Number 7, this is a corollary to that. Number 7, get up early on the day of the AM session. Give yourself time to get breakfast, do some exercise. Most of those hotels that we're staying in, if you're staying in a hotel, most of them have fitness centers. They're awesome. They're free. You will feel great if you just go. If they got a pool, just go get in the pool, especially if it's indoor, because it's going to be a little chilly outdoor. Get in the sauna. Do something, right, to jog your mind that this is fun. Tell yourself that this is life-giving and it's invigorating. But you're going to have to give yourself some extra time to do that. If you got kids, you already know the drill. I mentioned the coffee thing. Again, the coffee lines are stupid. If you're trying to grab a biscuit or a muffin or whatever, just build an extra time, especially if you're not within walking distance. If you're having to park and you don't know the route and you don't know the building and you don't know the parking deck, just build in extra time. Because when the bell sounds at 9 a.m. Friday, it's go time, and you don't want to miss a single thing. You paid for it. You sacrificed to get there. Don't jeopardize that by just being sluggardly. There's my word. All right. Number 8, Saturday night is the meeting after the meeting. This is sort of the after meeting party. So have fun. Have fun. Meet some people. Get together. Do your processing. Well, this kind of goes on with number 10. I would just say it this way. The meeting after the meeting in this business and in others usually are the most important meetings. Somebody's going to say something in the meeting after the meeting it's going to hit you in a way that you didn't hear it sitting in a theater ballroom of 5,000 people. You're going to connect with somebody differently. You're going to hear something differently that's going to transform your business in the meeting after the meeting. So make yourself available on Saturday night. Don't just isolate yourselves away. You and your honey, I get it. We're trying to get a date night as well. But we're going to incorporate that in the event. So just be intentional is my point. Friday night, Saturday night. There are some breakout sessions that go from Friday afternoon from 2 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. I know that Building Depth is doing a 3-hour marathon gathering from 7 to 10. It's Friday night. If you're not part of that group, that might be a good opportunity for you to just grab your team and find a spot and make sure everybody knows everybody. That goes along with my number 9. Number 9 is network. It's a network marketing event. If you can't network at a LifeVantage event, you probably need to go into some other business, right? It doesn't get any easier than this. These are all like-minded, life-minded people. We're all wired the same way. We all believe sort of the same things, that change is possible, and the way to achieve change is for us to change. And the reason we're making the sacrifice, spending the money, investing the time to come to Charleston is because we all believe that. So network with the executive team if you can find one. Have a conversation with them. They're very approachable if you can find them. Usually they're on roller skates trying to get to the next place. But if you find yourself in an environment or an opportunity to strike up that conversation, do so. If you're in the elevator and you see people with the lanyards, my goodness, find out where they're from, what their rank is, how long they've been in. You may find your next three-way phone call in that elevator conversation, right? So network. Celebrate your team. There will be, if you have team members there are life-changing stories happening. And one of the things that I get most excited about is watching those life transformations demonstrated by people and families walking across the stage. So the most fun of the event to me is to go high five those people that are changing their lives and their family tree by hitting those ranks. So Krista and I will be standing at the end of the ramp for the Pro 4s and Pro 5s, Pro 6s, and Pro 7s, crossing that stage. And I will be losing my mind, because to me, that's way more important than a bunch of knuckleheads running a leather orb over some lines on a cow pasture or AstroTurf, right? It's just life-changing stuff, literally life-changing stuff. Take lots of pics. Put those pictures on your social media pages. Don't mention Pro Tandem. Don't mention LifeVantage. Talk about the things you've learned. Talk about the people you're with, right? Praise the people. Affirm the people that you're with. Brag on your team. And if you don't have a social page, you can do that. Put it on Team Lifetree so we can all benefit. Number 10, have fun. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. And I will just say, for those of you that can't come, just watch Facebook. There are lots and lots of people that sort of sneakily do live streaming throughout the weekend, Friday and Saturday. So you might catch a 10, 15-minute segment from Charleston. Sorry, my mind's already moving on to the next thing. I'm trying to find our guest. Yes, so Jimmy Yeary, he's a hit American country singer-songwriter from Nashville, Tennessee. He'll be coming to Charleston to teach how to build teams, connections, and lifelong customers through emotional awareness and shared experiences. Find out how Jimmy Yeary has found success in the competitive world of country music and how he felt when his first song went #1. You don't want to miss that. And I would, the reason I mentioned that is because I would imagine that there will be lots of folks with their phones out streaming that live on Facebook. The other person is Anthony Robles. He's a NCAA champion wrestler, 2 titles. The man was born with 1 leg. You may have seen some Facebook posts in which he just set the world's record for pull-ups. He's a beast. He's a stud, and he's a Nike athlete, and he will be our motivational speaker. And I don't know which session he's going to be in. I would think that that's probably going to be Saturday morning, but that's a guess, right? Saturday will be general session 2 is 9 a.m. to 12:30. General session 3 is 2:30 to 6:30. All right. So I would love to unpack those a little bit more. I want to get to this stuff as well that I wanted to share with you. How are we doing on time? Shoot, I have 1 minute. That's not going to work. Okay. How much do I want to share this? Quite a bit, actually. All right. Let me give you the 5 things. This is the synopsis of kind of what Krista and I wanted to share tonight. Maybe we can talk about this again in a future date. This kind of feels John Maxwell-like to me, because John's always numbering his points and giving you the 5 things that are going to transform your life, or the 15 essential decisions for growth, or the 21 laws of leadership, or some numerical factor. So I'm going to give you the 5 keystone habits for personal growth, just as an added bonus for jumping on tonight. So write these down. Spend time every day in meditation, thanksgiving, gratefulness, affirmation. For a lot of us who are people of faith, that's in time in Scripture as well. Gosh, I got so many notes here. How you start your day will determine how you sustain that day. The first 20 minutes of your day are when your subconscious mind is the most impressionable. Whatever you hear, read, and think about within the first 20 minutes of waking up will affect the rest of your day. It is the rudder of your day. That's number one. And journaling, of course, should be a part of that. Number two, read something positive, inspirational, transformational for at least 15 minutes a day. Every day, force yourself to read something that will grow you intellectually. Leaders are readers. We were thinking about the Apostle Paul, who's in prison in Rome, and his big request, he's got two requests for his sort of protege, his little Padawan, Timothy. He says, Timothy, hey, remember that coat? Bring that because I'm freezing. Two, bring my books. And the thought occurred to me, when kids go through school and they read a couple books in a quarter or semester, you know what we call that? We call that exceptional. Do you know what we call it when adults get out of school and they read nothing? The average person does not read more than 2 books for the rest of their life once they graduate their education institution. And we call that normal. That's sad, right? So leaders are readers. If you set aside 15 minutes a day, you'll read up to 24 books a year. That means in a lifetime, you would read more than 1,000 books. That's equivalent going to college 5 times. So I'll just show you. I'll tell on myself here. You ready? I've got a stack. Those are my unread books right now. And I've got another big stack on my end table downstairs. And because they're transformational, you can't overcome the stuff up here with what you've already been working with, right? It takes a higher intellect from the problem that solved it, something external to work through it. I'm getting distracted here. Number 3, listen to a motivational, faith-building message at some point every day. Faith comes by hearing, right? Making myself listen to audio messages every day began to change my whole way of thinking. The more I hear the word, the more my faith will grow. When my faith grows, my confidence begins to grow as well. If you want to know where your life is headed, just listen to the words that are coming out of your mouth. The average American spends 30 minutes in their car going to and from work every day. If you do that for 5 years, that's 1,250 hours in your car. If you use that time for teaching, training, that's the equivalent of another college education. That will give you 6 by the time you're done. Number 4, review your dreams and goals daily. I got to go. We're over time. Don't set broad, vague goals. Set specific goals. Read them and review them every day. Pray over them. Dare to dream. Declare them out loud. And be thankful for what's already accomplished, or what you've already accomplished, what God's already accomplished in your life, and how privileged we are. If nothing else, we live in a free country, right? The rest of the world would do just about anything to have the benefits of living in North America. Number 5, exercise. As the body moves, the brain grooves. Not only will daily exercise help you feel better inside and out, but you'll develop this discipline. You'll notice that your thinking will become clearer, and you'll be more motivated to fulfill your plan for personal growth. Pareto principle is 80-20. 80% of what you do determines 20% of the 80% of your activities will produce 20% of the results, and vice versa. 20% of the activities, like reading, like journaling, like meditation, like giving thanks, like giving affirmations, not just to yourself, but to others, will determine 80% of the consequences, the fruit in your life. This was intended to take a whole training session, so I apologize for truncating that to a 5-minute sermonette, but gosh, we realized it was so important to share those with you. If you do not have your goals written someplace that you can see them every day, please do that. If you're a leader, if you're Pro 3, Pro 4, Pro 5, and up in LifeVantage, you should know the goals of your team members as well. Those should be written down, and we should be praying over those. We should be earnestly endeavoring to fulfill our part of that leader's goals as well. We can't do it for them, but our job is to help. If they do their part, we do our part. We just need to know what our part is and where they're trying to get to, right? So if you can't come to Charleston, it doesn't mean we don't love you. We will have a processing session on the back end of this next Monday. So thanks everybody for jumping on. Rhino's got something to share. I see you have just unmuted. Maybe not.
I did.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap. So with that, everybody, we'll see you in Charleston. Watch the jump feed. And if you need instructions or you have a hard time finding that or finding us on the Jump app for iPhone or Android, please let us know. If you don't have a smartphone, find somebody that does. Make sure that they can text you information. So with that, we're going to wrap it up for tonight. See you in Charleston. Bye, everybody.
See you, Mark.
See you, buddy.